old. What kind of management interface? And it is really spectacularly fast. And it is actually our fastest growing service within AWS ever. And this becomes the three major categories in there. So first there is Amazon Athena that allows you to just store all your data in S3 and then run ad hoc queries. Now whenever it interacts, if you want to build highly dedicated analytics capabilities. So the cool thing with EMR is that you just have to build your code against. It's something very different from the other types of analytics that we just saw, which were just large data set plowing through analytics. In Redshift, business to today. And we'd like to invite Ashish Kajep on stage, the founder of Ibibo Group, to talk.
Intercity carpooling application.
S3. And so where these Redshift, where these data sets are very, very large, better.
Cannot do a batch processing because the editors and those who are working actually on the news would like information then and there. So see how many people are actually accessing it, what's the interest that they are seeing, reading a news article and things like that. So
tedious process that you have to go through. Imagine on cloud. It's just we have to run a cloud formation template. It will have the infrastructure and it will go and deploy it within 10-15 minutes. And within I'll discuss the case study. For Microsoft, so we have been doing Microsoft workloads for a long time now. So we have worked through all the services. Want to spend upfront capital investment on it. They wanted a scalable and operational OPEX model that they needed, and they needed zero downtime. So I will tell how we managed to pull this off. So you see, let me tell you one of the advantage of going with AWS for SAP. So if you know, imagine this customer. They went on-prem, where they already bought the servers.
Those domains are identity and access management. So if we just take a second to think about the nature, that sort of frequency just isn't good enough anymore. And you need to start thinking about how to embed security into your software development lifecycle as part of continuous integration and continuous delivery practices. If you're at the start of your AWS journey, or maybe you haven't moved a single consultant, is the SOC 2 report. So there are many more on the screen, but if you're going to go away from here and read one report, it's the SOC 2 report. It's not specific about the big for those of you that don't know. Any organization can go out and get a SOC 2 report, and you can have around around what we do internally. It's available every 6 months, and you can download it directly from the AWS console once you log in. About 9 months ago, we released a new service called Artifact. Service called AWS IAM, which is very simple. It allows you to create users. Users can be assigned to groups, and groups can have roles and permissions. So, to give you an example, you might want to 100 users, you assign them into different groups and roles. Now, before you even start launching servers and databases, there's an element of login that you want to turn on before you actually let the users start doing it. So these are two services. AWS CloudTrail is our service that logs absolutely everything that happens in your account. So every time someone clicks on a button via the console, every time someone makes an API, red line or the threshold is on 1. That's because if anyone uses it any time, so even just once, I want to know about it straight away. So if someone manages to access my group credentials, log into my AWS environment, I will immediately get an alarm sent to my email address. Likewise, the security with CloudTrail. So the login service that I mentioned previously. So any encrypt operations or decrypt operations, or if anyone creates a key, deletes a key, or takes a key, where your data will live. You can see there around halfway down, there's an encrypt this volume option. Just by selecting that box, KMS will go ahead and perform AES-256 encryption for you, industry standards with your on-premise environment. So far we've discussed KMS. It's fully managed by AWS. Nothing for you to do apart from tick the box. Great service. $1 a month per key. So just to highlight the cost differences there. We start looking at having your own virtual private cloud. It's one of the first things that you are required to do when you come to AWS. But basically, it's a dedicated section of the cloud just for you as a customer. It's entirely private. So once you've configured it, then it has 100 TCP ports open. So Telnet, FTP, SSH, Switch proxy, a whole bunch of other stuff like SQL injection, cross-site scripting attack. You can actually write custom plugins for it, feed it IP addresses. So as I mentioned earlier, from your SSH brute force alarm, you can automatically take the source IP. Asked me, can I continue using the appliances that I have on premise in AWS? And the answer is yes, provided that they have an appliance in our marketplace. So, big projects like F5, FortiGate, Checkpoint, Palo Alto, Trend Micro Deep Security, they all have re-platformed virtualized instances, and they allow their appliances within AWS. So if you're comfortable using those, and you want to continue using them to supplement weeks, months, while they exfiltrate your data, and then how do you respond to that when an attack has been in your encryption, you turn on all of your security groups, but then what happens if 6 months later your developers have started changing things, or they haven't adhered to the controls and rules that you set up from the start? Look at the top line. It's called Security Fundamentals on AWS, and it's a free online course. It takes about 4 hours, but it does go through a lot of the services that I've just discussed. So please take a look at the security that I just mentioned. But more importantly, the CIS benchmark has an AWS security benchmark, which you should take a look at. Okay, so I'll just finish. So to conclude, make security easy for everyone. So as you move to AWS, there's going to be a lot of concern around how you secure it. If you can start using services that just automate a lot of the security, as I demonstrated, or use things like button click encryption, it really takes the burden off your development team. And then
so here is our application. And you see here that this is apparently any changes to be made. On my laptop or my. Always remember to copy that access key down, because if you don't do it at that point in time, you will never see it again. In fact, it's creating another user to be able to do it. For those of you who attend